Hello, I'm Catherine, and this is a story about capitalism. This is a journey through capitalism. You could even call it something of an adventure. Not of the fun sort, a fun fair, but an adventure in the sense that we have a clear destination, but there are no maps. We have a number of possible pathways, we have various tools and toolkits, and that's about it. So the destination is to reverse economic inequality and to make capitalism work for all, not just the few. So, I am a hardcore capitalist, and what does that mean? It means that I'm pretty bothered about the fact that today's version of capitalism has gone wrong. It is very distorted, it has gone down a wrong path, it is very dysfunctional. Listen, we all know this. There is in fact a broad consensus around this across academia and business executives themselves. Heck, even Wall Street CEOs are starting to come out and recognise this. So Jamie Dimon is one, Ray Dalio is another. Ray Dalio, who is apparently worth $17 billion, has actually said, crikey, I'm a capitalist, and even I think capitalism is broken. So, we need to rehabilitate capitalism, we need to rehumanize capitalism, and thereby we optimize capitalism. Something that's really important is that we all need to be willing to reconsider our ideas and our understanding about capitalism and what capitalism is and what its true purpose is. If we don't do this, we will never reverse economic inequality, and we will all be responsible for that. So if I'm arguing that we have to rehumanize capitalism, then I am obliged to first share a little bit of my background and a little bit of my story, and I do that in the first stream of videos. So although I have a Wall Street investment, finance, business background, I also have a very strong arts background, and in fact my formative years I was professionally trained as a classical musician. And this is actually a very important set of skills and approach, and in fact I'm approaching this whole thing first and foremost as an artistic endeavour, as a creative endeavour, and this is really important. So first of all, what is art? Art is fundamentally, I would argue, about two things. First of all, it is about creating something new, exploring new territory, using new materials that haven't been used before, or using existing materials that have been used before but in different combinations. And the purpose of art is to enrich the human experience, to lift people up, to bring people together. And so, in a way, my muse for this venture is the sculptor and artist Andy Goldsworthy. And in essence, he sort of walks out into the countryside, walks out into Mother Nature, and he uses the tools that Mother Nature leaves lying around. So a stone here, a rock there, a leaf here, a tree trunk there, and he creates something extraordinarily beautiful. So what I'm doing is I'm walking out into the sphere of capitalism and using the various tools of capitalism to hopefully create something that is beautiful from something that is ugly at present. So capitalism in its present form, I would argue, is something rather undesirable, rather ugly, and it's potentially capable of something truly beautiful. It's potentially capable of lifting up the many, all of us, not just the few. And I'm deeply inspired by that goal. So by the way, you know that you're creating good art when everybody says that's crazy, which is what people generally say when they're looking at something new that they don't recognize. And so, for example, Beethoven, Haydn, Mozart were doing extraordinarily radical things for the time. And even, my goodness gracious, even Haydn, his work actually caused members of the audience to faint. So in a way, that should be my job. If I'm not making you all faint, I'm doing something wrong. So this is really important, because if I were just to approach this from a business context, it would never work. You cannot create a business model out of reversing economic inequality. You can only achieve this mission if you approach it in this artistic, creative way. And that is because if you're using status quo tools, if you're using status quo inputs, you're going to get status quo outputs. And business skills, business thinking is really very, very limited in its approach. And by the way, one of my favorite Nobel laureate economists, he's also one of the best innovation experts in the country, Ned Phelps, has actually pointed out that the most important degree that somebody can do these days and going forward is actually a liberal arts degree. And that is because the fundamental ingredient of sustainable long-term economic growth is creative thinking. And this is something you don't get doing accounting degrees or business degrees, and certainly not finance degrees. And so creative thinking is what drives innovation, and innovation is the key ingredient, as well as population growth, of course, to GDP growth. And so I think it's really important to reconsider why creative thinking and the arts are so incredibly important to our long-term economic prospects. There are a couple of other things that are really important about the creative artistic mindset. Number one, we are used to failure, and this is actually one of the key determinants of successful new business enterprise, is the ability to fail over and over and over again and get back up. You've got to be able to fail 20 times or more and still get up and try again and learn from your failings and adapt your model each step. So that's one thing that's really, really important, and that ability to fail and that perseverance, that grunt work, is very much at the core of an artistic training. Another core part of the artistic training is the realization that you really need to generate 10, 20 ideas before you'll find one of them that might be workable. So you don't get attached to the first idea you have or the second idea you have, which is very much the way that business people tend to approach things. So let's talk about change. Of course, I'm not sitting in front of you saying, I am single-handedly going to rescue capitalism, oh, isn't that just fabulous? No, but what I am saying is that we know that the way that change happens is one person steps up to the plate and starts pushing for change, and others notice and join in either the same effort or their own efforts. And change is viral. One of my favourite academics on how change happens is Dr. Leandro Herrero, and you can look up his viral change program. So we actually know that human beings, we're phenomenal. We're all, each and every one of us, are phenomenal change agents. We have tremendous capacity to change. It's a question of realizing that the world around us is precisely the outcome of what you and I make it. So if we don't like it, let's fix it. Let's stop looking to a big fairy in the sky to fix this. Let's stop looking to the guys on Wall Street to fix it. Let's stop looking to Warren Buffett to fix it. He certainly isn't going to. The fix is going to come from each and every one of us. So what I want to ask you is, please join me on this journey. Let's all be badass together, because capitalism needs it.